I got one of my boys here, Hassan. Thanks for joining me. How you been, man?
Good, thank you, man.
Yeah,
Get in the mood.
yeah. We just literally been testing the audio, and we just been talking so much about all these games, and that's like another whole podcast on its own, to be honest. But we're here for a specific reason. We both watched Scream, the latest iteration of it. They call it Scream Six now. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, it's
They,
correct. That's all
they've
right. That's
they've
the right
they've
numerical
started
order.
they've started putting in the stupid Roman numerals, and it's always like it's jarring me again. Like, but yeah, I know it screams six. Yeah, so we're gonna go through a basically our thoughts on that. This is a spoiler review of Scream Six, so just be warned that we will be talking about spoilers. If you haven't seen the film, please do go out and watch it. It is wow, it's like wicked and really wicked for our nostalgia too. But yeah, first of all, like, what were your thoughts about that about the film?
Well, I think for me, it started off strong because you had like there was Samara Weaving. She looks exactly like Margot Robbie, that actress at the beginning. She was like the teacher, and she gets. They do the typical thing of when you're absorbed in like a horror, and the person you're watching does the wrong everything wrong, but you're shouting at the screen, right? Because she's like looking at the alleyway, you're like, come on, you're not really gonna go down there, are you? And then
Oh
she
yeah,
just.
yeah, yeah.
You don't expect the kill to be as violent as it was, though. That guy stabbed her like tons of times. You're just thinking, what the fuck? Like,
That was actually mad. Like the way he carried on stabbing in it and really fast, and I was like, that was interesting. And the way he stood there, I knew like straight away. I knew that the fact that he lingered there for a while, I knew he was gonna reveal his face. And
yeah,
he
that was cool. And I've also thought, like, like him going back to his flat and then interacting with the main, like, General Taker's character, Tara. Like, he interacts with her when she's on the way to the party. He passes her, and then you think to yourself, okay, they're letting us know the main villain from the start. You think, and then they go,
yeah, I
and
mean,
they change up that whole dynamic with the flat scene.
initially I was like, are they going to trying to go in a different angle where we sort of know one of the killers, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be a secondary killer that's going to be still hidden. But then I was like, nah, they're definitely going to finish him off when he went back to the flat. I was like, this guy's just a fanboy, and the real killer's going to come for him. But yeah, like yeah, no, was there anything else that you
You know
found
they
interesting?
upgraded it because like you didn't expect him to go to the fridge and see a chopped up body because that doesn't seem like a normal scream kill, on
Yeah, that's more like a Saw thing, isn't it?
it? So it was quite cool. I think they did a lot in this movie to sort of give you red herrings and made you believe. Like even Sam's boyfriend, Danny,
Yeah.
he's he's like he said a few lines that makes you think, wait, could he be the killer? Like I did not guess it was going to be the cop. To be fair, like even though he was a little dodgy, I didn't guess it was going to be him.
Oh, we're going straight for the killer, yeah? No, I mean,
I mean,
what?
that's like the overall. But if you want to go from the play by play,
No, we can go. But yeah, I mean, the actual reveal was interesting because generally you think like if you watched Scream 5 or was it Scream 4,
right?
Scream 4 was especially where it was linked to always there's always someone within the group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's not directly someone, one of their friends, basically, or someone that joined the friend group. This time round, I don't think any of them, well, other than the one that they kept taking the piss out of that guy, they were like, "You're the killer, man," and it was obviously that he was the
Oh
son in
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's pretty.
That was quite funny,
That's good.
right?
That's
But
good. That's good.
I like the fact that it was the entire family sort of external to the group. Like even that guy that was
Yeah, yeah,
weirdo that they kept accusing him,
boyfriend.
he was someone that came into the group and they were like, nah, it's not him. I didn't think it was the boyfriend or something. But
Even like they faked us well by like fake killing the sister, the daughter of the family of the killer. Like
yes, so the
because you didn't expect her to come back. You thought she was dead. You're like, huh? Oh, okay.
oh, so yeah, actually, if you think about it, then she was one of the friend group. So it was on the friend group, but the fact
They
that they killed
infiltrated them.
her off meant that it was like put out of your mind. And then when they came
Yeah.
back, for me initially I was like, wow, it's for the first time it's not a single member of the group. It's like an external factor. Like
Technically, she was a teammate.
that
It
copper
was
is like whoever. Like he was just a supporting police cop. So no one was expecting it to be him. But yeah, I know what you mean. Technically, the other two were within the friend group, but one was an outsider. They kept accusing him like, "Yo, you're the last one to join the group. You're definitely a dodgy guy. I don't trust you." And they kept making jokes about it. And I was like, "He's the obvious choice, but maybe he won't be." But the daughter, again, part of the group, but they killed her off, which was a very good twist. So it meant that no one actually from the group, majority of the time, from the main group, was the killer. Whereas obviously in Scream 4, it was Sydney's actual cousin, you know. So it's not like it's sort of, yeah, it threw you off. They chucked it out there, and that was wicked.
And dialing it back, like obviously after that opening scene, you have the psychiatrist scene, and then Sam admits that she's got tendencies to kill, like she really wants to kill.
Yeah, how did you feel about like
Or being like,
Sam's
well, she's
character? Like,
got Billy in her blood, isn't it? They're related, so it's like
yeah, but
what they're trying to do is that spiritual horror kind of take, like
do you
she her
know?
mind is breaking. She keeps seeing Billy. Like I liked it. I thought it was alright, like because
I think that's wicked that they found a link to bring back Billy, obviously, and unfortunately they can't bring back, is it Matthew Illard?
yeah, Stu's
Yeah,
good.
like he's an amazing character too, right? The legendary from the first
Everyone's
Scream.
theory crafting that in the next one he'll
Yeah,
return.
I actually read
Yeah.
something about Scream 3 originally they meant it to have him come back, surviving
Okay.
the TV on his face and stuff. But because of some sort of, I think it was a school shooting that happened, they decided to go less violent
Oh,
and they didn't bring him
yeah.
back. But but yeah, like her character is essentially like in this film, I felt like sometimes maybe she is a bit of an anti-hero. Maybe she's also could be like a killer, kind of.
Yeah, I
If
think
you,
that's exactly what I wanted. I think that's exactly what
yeah,
I wanted.
because it was like, did they really need to kill the guy that was like, I'm sorry, spare me, and then she shot him through the eye, remember? And I was like, I mean, generally you'd be like, nah, I'm better than you, and that's why I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna send you to the cops,
You
kind of thing,
Batman. You
right?
Batman.
But the amount of times that they actually go through this, and then she just decides like willingly, she got the gun, she got the upper hand, and then she still decides to shoot him. It's almost like, do you not want him to go to prison and actually exonerate yourself? Like, how do you even explain that whole mess of a
No,
situation?
technically, though, she could get away with it because he injured Kirby when she was a cop, right?
A lot.
So like, he was already. You could say it was self defense always. Like when there's multiple deaths, because remember this guy's killed multiple people, and it's like proven as the killer. He's proven as the killer, so she'll definitely get off, but she would have to have like obviously she'll be on the watch list.
No, but she's already being like harassed by people saying that
Yeah,
you're a
but it just
murderer,
means it'll
right?
get worse.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
means it'll get worse
And
for her.
and
Yeah.
and I'm thinking like it starts stacking up like against her, and I felt that they could have actually kept him alive and have him as I thought they would keep him alive and keep him as like the enemy for the next film. So like one of them survives or the father
Oh, okay.
survives,
Yeah, yeah, I
he
get what you
he
mean.
goes to prison. And remember, I think it was Scream 2 where they had that guy that came out of prison who was wrongly convicted by Sydney, and he was like a suspect, but he was also innocent, remember? And he
Yeah,
kept
we
basically,
do.
he was like a
Yeah.
dodgy guy, remember? Um, I thought they're gonna bring in like a story like that, so he'll survive it, he'll go to prison, and the next season it will be all about, so the next episode will be all about how he got released, and then he would be like antagonizing her, saying "You ruined my life," kind of thing. But they just literally killed off all three, which meant
Yeah, it's
that
weird, 'cause when you got to by the end of the movie, and obviously you got that scene where she drops the mask, but like I was thinking overall they're trying to push like the narrative that she's on the edge and the sister's keeping her from going full killer
yeah, like
because
she could have kept that
when she does
mask.
it, she pulls her back. So it's a thing of maybe in the next movie it's sister versus sister.
She could have been the whoa.
You
What do
know,
you mean?
like she might go full killer in the next movie, and then obviously the hero is the
I,
other sister probably trying to win her back.
I thought
You
this
know,
one.
like
I thought they were gonna
different angles.
go. I thought they were gonna go against each other in this one, to be honest. But
Well,
they
that's
did,
they're
yeah,
saying it. They did a good job of kept teasing us and then
yeah.
moving us away. Like,
But
and it's yeah, it's
I would say she became almost like a like a killer of some sorts. Like they were literally agreeing. She became essentially what she didn't want to be, and I thought that was a bit weird because I thought at the end of the day it's meant to be the the hero wins, right? And this one it seemed like the villain because there was no need for you to actually go and kill that person.
Yeah, but you got to think about it.
That's a
Like
bit
from
evil, isn't
five,
it?
that's why 5 and 6. That's why 5 and 6 are interesting. They've revived the franchise because they're not going by the norms of what is done before.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the
And even
lines that
there's that little in joke.
Randall's.
Like, think about Chad in the two movies. Chad technically should be dead. In both movies, he got stabbed way more times than a normal human should. But the joke is that he's always surviving.
Ah, right. Yeah, yeah. Initially, I didn't recognize like what was that guy about. Yeah, but then I
Yeah, 'cause remember
realized. Yeah, yeah.
in 5, he got stabbed up so much, you think, no, that guy's definitely dead. And then he survives. And then in this
Yeah,
movie, they do the same joke. He gets stabbed up so much, and then he still survives. So it's quite funny
yeah.
they did that.
I was quite happy that he survived. I like him.
What did you get the
He
train?
it's like the warm characters that you need sort of to keep the group together. If everyone dies, it becomes a bit disjointed. You don't have too many newer characters in being introduced. I feel like they've done wicked with the way they brought in Courtney Cox and then also gave her the actual survival run and then left her alive because she almost died, just like how what was the guy, her husband, essentially in the film.
That's a good scene. Now, Dewey. I mean, Dewey.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
Dewey.
like Dewey's send off was amazing. Like in the thing when he did that double stab and he pulled him up and said it's been an honor. Like they gave him a really good send off, and they could have easily done that to Monica, but not Monica. They could have easily done that to. They could have easily
Courtney
done
Cox.
that
Yeah, yeah,
to
to get
Courtney
away.
Cox, Gail Weathers, right? They could have easily done that, but she's like the fun factor. Like every time she'll come into a film,
And get punched.
she'll get punched in the beginning, right? And then there's like, yeah, you're a friend after. And I felt like they made a good decision to keep Neve Campbell out because it doesn't make sense for her to be dragged in with her kids all the time into now, which is a
I
different
think it's
even
boring.
city.
I think it'd be boring. Yeah, I think it'd be boring. You can't keep the like Courtney Cox makes sense because sorry, yeah, because she's like Gail Weathers is.
It's her job, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So she'll
What
be on it.
what's the need for the other one to come all the way down to New York now to save people that essentially are not even related to you? Like no, like what is the deal with that? Whereas this one is about she had like a storyline to come in, and it made sense as well because Dewey, if Dewey was alive, it would have make sense for him to be a sheriff in New York as well. So
Yeah,
they navigated it well, and obviously Gail Weathers, she's a reporter, so she fits the bill of being in New York. So it actually falls into place quite well, and I actually thought it was actually refreshing to be in New York with new rules. That I saw the poster and I was like, wow, it's in New
yeah.
York. This
The
is
train scene. Did you like the train scene? That was good.
the train theme.
The scene in the train.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my god, that was so scary, man. I love that. I was like, any one of them could be it. It was so good. Um, okay, let's talk about let's quickly talk about nostalgia. Like, I thought for a Scream franchise, right, the way they sort of I love the originals. It was one of my all-time favorite slasher films. Like
Yeah, there was that film.
they always had hilarious scenes with Ghostface. Like the way he survives and runs at people and then gets smashed down with every single object in the room. It's always hilarious to watch. At the same time, it being a slasher, it's not a direct horror where it's like ghosts and religion. It's more it's more hilarious but still quite cruel and also a thriller, which makes it one of my all-time favorite slashers of all time. And I felt like they've done it justice. Like I watched all the previous ones before episode 5, and then I think 6 came out was a bit of a shock because I haven't been following it, and then suddenly I
Yeah.
saw on the poster after coming out from watching Avatar, and I was like, what the hell? Scream 6 New
Well,
York?
5 was massive. 5 was massive. That's why.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah. But this is done really well as well. Obviously,
and
like,
and I love the fact that they pulled on nostalgia again. They brought back Kirby, which was awesome because I remember like she's almost become a legacy character because her film was almost like 12 years ago, 10 years ago,
no,
2010 or 2014, 2010
it's
or
really
20,
man.
2014,
Like,
sometime like that it came out I think the other film, right? It's almost been like 10 years, I think. So even Scream 4 where she started, I initially thought she's from Scream 3, but I was like, no, actually Heroes came out well after that. So
Yeah.
she was from Scream 4, and they had a big gap again, and then they went to Scream 5, and only Scream 5 and 6 were like pretty much quite back to back. From what I noticed, is quite quick. Whereas generally they wait quite a while, innit? Within
I think the next one will be fast as well because
yeah,
the success and the money it's making, they don't want to lose that audience,
bro.
so they're gonna try and. But then I really hope they've got a good script before they go forward. I don't want them to rush just because these two have made good money. Because
Yeah, yeah.
luckily, these two have been really good movies,
And I
and that rarely happens. That rarely happens. Like they've got two in a row that are really good. So
really good.
I don't want them to mess it up. So I'd rather they get
Even
the script right.
even with Scream 4, when they did like the most unobvious character as the killer, which was the actual, is it the niece of of
Yeah.
Sydney, which was a complete shock. But then you think about it and you think how many people, how many stories you've heard in in America and stuff, where they have like these stories of their own family members killing each other. Like actually it's not too far fetched, and actually
No, even in England, there was a guy who shot his wife and kid, like in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
countryside.
But what I'm
Yeah,
saying is that yeah, you see these headlines in it, obviously,
yeah,
and you actually think, even though it's really far fetched for a family member to kill someone, then you realize actually it's not too far fetched because that's all we see and we hear about it all the time. So for them to integrate into the story meant that it pulled you away from you thinking she's the actual killer, and then they actually chucked it in there, and yeah, that was awesome.
What
Another
did you
thing,
think of, like
the New York scene.
you know, they kept using the masks, the different masks was quite cool because it kept you guessing. You kept thinking, wait, that mask's like even as a viewer,
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
like when you saw him in the shop, you're like that mask is like battered. That's not the same ghost
Do you
face.
know? I didn't even realize that the reason why that original the master they were using was like moldy green was because it's old. I just realized that whilst watching the film that this was the original. It was Billy Loomis' mask in it. That's
But
why
yeah,
it was moldy and green. Whereas I initially thought this is just a cooler designed mask, but actually the guy actually stole the one from, is it Billy Loomis?
yeah,
Loomis.
yeah. But that's what I mean. That's what was the guessing game because I was watching. Obviously, you're looking out for visual things
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and when every mask is different. You're like, hold on a minute, how many killers are they? And then you start suspecting everyone, like the boyfriend. Danny, when he whispers to her, "Don't trust anybody," I was like, "Yeah, this guy's definitely one of them."
Yeah, I mean, they brought them in so they could be easily disposable, right?
Yeah,
But
that's
but
it.
that's why I like the fact that they didn't go for the boyfriend as they would have in previous
Cool.
entries. It kept you off the scent. But the scene before I forget, the bit where he went into the shop and then he pulled the gun off the guy and then he started using a shotgun. I was like, this is so sick because it was just so cool and refreshing to see. Obviously, Ghostface just fuck it, I'll just grab a shotgun and then I'll start shooting too.
Also,
Normally,
we know who the killer is now. He's a cop, so obviously he's going to be able to handle a gun that
yeah,
good.
that makes more sense now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The fact
Yeah,
that I did that. Um, the fact that they hid in that shop around like little corners and survived, that's a bit weird because my guy had a
but
gun.
this is
It's not that
this is
big.
horror movie. No, but this is horror movies. Remember, even Gail Weathers, she was in a room with her back to safety, and she had a gun in front of her. She could have waited it out there until someone turned up, but she left. Like the horror movie thing is for us to shout at the screen because they do dumb stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they
Yeah,
come in and you
stuff
run
like that.
upstairs. Where you gonna
It's
go?
not real.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's not real. They would have died, obviously. Like, but it's one of those things where it's for us viewers that gets us thinking. Like, you moan at the screen and get really engaged.
yeah, yeah. So
So,
have you always been like a really big fan of Scream from the
yeah, horrors in general, like horrors in general, but
yeah.
screen slashers are like really fun. Yeah, like I've watched like tons. Like
Nah, man, Scream.
Barbarian is really good recently. You should watch that if you got time. The Barbarian. It's called Barbarian, just Barbarian.
I
It's
saw
a
some.
UK. It's not as scary as you think. It's just you for the whole movie. You're thinking, what the hell am I watching? You'll never guess where the movie goes.
Oh,
I mean, it's really entertaining. That is really entertaining, man. You like it.
bro,
Yeah,
I recommend everyone go out and watch this. Watch it in
yeah,
the
100%.
cinema. It is so good. Get yourself some snacks and definitely enjoy this. It kept me guessing throughout, and even then when I was watching it, I was telling my mate, I was like, how wicked is this? Because it's not. It's a moment that in time that you can't replicate because you will know the answer to it. It's
Yeah,
not. It's not.
that's
It's
the
not
power
natural.
of the movie. Yeah,
So
that's the power of
whilst I'm watching it,
the film.
I was just letting him know, like I was like, this is so good, and it's like just living it in the moment because you know that once it's finished, it's gonna be amazing to watch again in the future. Give it a little bit of time, but you will always know the answer. And for you to not know the answer, it's just like, oh my god, I'm guessing, I'm trying to guess it, I'm trying to figure it out. At the same time, I'm enjoying this awesome movie, and every single time Ghostface comes on screen, it's like, oh, it's just even cooler. Um, but let's talk quickly about the last scene of Scream One. Like, how good was that finale? Like when they both showed up. Like, I missed them so much in the film. Like, they only were in one film, to be honest. But the fact that they brought Billy
That's,
Loomis back,
that's what adds the power. That's what
it's
adds the power to
it's like a
this.
it's like a long lost like legacy child
This
that
finale is quite
they create
memorable.
that.
If you think back to the other franchises, I don't think the end, like apart from the first film, the finales are not very memorable. But I think this one in the theater, the way they did the kill box and stuff, was quite memorable.
Yeah, but they also did like this whole franchise thing, and also I love the fact that they got that Randall character, which is his nephew and niece in it.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
doing
they're
the
good. They're
she's doing
both
that
good.
story, and it's like the prequel, the recall, and all of this stuff. And
Yeah, they keep him
we're in
up
a
to,
franchise
and
now.
it's good dialogue as well. Like it's not, sometimes they can do that in movies and it comes across cheesy.
Yeah,
Like this, in this, it comes across really well. Like
yeah.
they wrote it really well,
But when
and
they
like
when they do that, it's almost like they're laughing at themselves. They're sort of like
that's it, exactly, exactly.
they are a film, but they've always done that because if you look at the original films, they've always had their Stab franchise going in, and they can talk about it as a Stab film, whereas actually the real Stab film is Scream, right? So that was quite funny how they did that. But
It's like the
then,
opening. He says, "Do you like scary movies?" She's like, "Nah, I teach it, but
yeah, yeah,
nah,
exactly.
they're not my favorite." No, it's so good.
But that whole idea, that whole concept of that, the constant narration of like what you shouldn't do in a scary movie film and you're gonna die, and everyone laughed, and it happens. It's like from the originals they've done that, and they kept that character on in a newer fashion. I feel like now I'm more comfortable with the newer group, whereas when they initially came in, I was like, bring back the old guys, But now it's like I don't really, I didn't even miss.
Generation.
Like I didn't even miss the fact that Neve Campbell wasn't even in the film because I felt like she ended her character justified as I don't think
Yeah.
she was no longer a victim. She was more like a survivor kind of thing. When she finished her
Yeah, you
character.
don't even need her
But
anymore. Even Kirby, Kirby served her purpose in this movie, but they don't need to bring her back now. They
yeah, yeah.
wouldn't need to. Like,
So now that
see, that's what
I
I
have
mean.
you have a
So it's
better
like,
love for the actual the initial characters that have been for them to have their second film means that you have a bit more care for them, so you're like more of an attachment, whereas you didn't have that initially when they're like a new characters. But I feel like after watching Adam as well, was it Wednesday, I felt
hmm?
like that character was really good. Like I didn't even
But
realize that.
Tara is the main
Yeah,
character.
one of the main
Yeah.
characters. Like I felt her performance was amazing, and I felt like her being initially when she was in Scream 4, was it Scream 4 or Scream 5? She was in Scream
Five.
5. Yeah, yeah. When she came in Scream 5, I didn't know who she was. After watching Wednesday, I was like, oh my god, she's the girl from Wednesday, but she actually was in Scream beforehand.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so after watching her performance in Wednesday, I was like well impressed with her performance here, and I felt like it's gonna be like that. She's gonna be a really good asset to the team.
But she
Uh,
plays that Sydney role, like the survivor,
yeah.
but suffering at the same time. Like that's why I think you wouldn't need Neve Campbell's character to return like Sydney. You wouldn't need her because you would have two of the same characters in the same movie
Mm.
essentially. Like that'd be boring. Yeah. So
Whenever I watch Scream, man, it just reminds me back to that time where it's like it's an era, right? The original Scream trilogy was like
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
and it's our childhood, right? And it's like, I'd say it's like our teens and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
'cause it came out when we were like in sixth form around that
yeah,
period.
so it just reminds us of
Yeah,
those
like
times, but also the concept of like the amazing like twist and the hilariousness of the way they both sort of the killers would sort of stab each other, and it's like, dude, I think I'm gonna die here, man. I'm bleeding out, and it just
I've not watched it in a long time actually. I wanted to see it because they showed it again in Cineworld,
yeah, yeah.
showing it again. Yeah.
I watched like a little Comic Con performance of like a reunion of the
Oh,
original
okay.
cast.
Right.
Yeah, and Billy Loomis, Neve Campbell.
The Drew Barrymore as well.
Nah, I don't think she was there, but
Yeah, okay, okay.
Matthew Illis, is it his name is? He and like one of my favorite characters, him and Billy Loomis. So they were all there. And they were talking about it and reminiscing. And obviously, I watched all the previous ones again. I do a marathon whenever a newer one comes out, so I did it last time. So it's still quite fresh in my mind, and I was like, it's just nostalgia, man. It's so good, but it's not just nostalgia that's making this film good. It's also the fact that it's actually a good film, you know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think these 5 and 6 of like standout films. That's why I'm a bit worried for 7. I'm like, please be good, please be good,
Yeah,
because
just basically
you know what
don't
happens
mess
when
it up.
something's that big. Yeah, when something's this big, you're like, either don't make a 7, or if you're gonna make a 7, like wait, just like build that up. Like,
Initially, I was like, don't shatter my memory of it, right? Don't make a new one, right? Don't be that that money hungry guy company, right? But then they made it and it was good, and I was like, you know what? Just bring on more.
they
Just
could do it.
bring
Yeah,
on
they
more.
could.
They did it
Do
again.
it.
I was like, bruv,
Trust them.
I'm not missing it. Bring on more. You know, sometimes they have like a sequel every 2 years or whatever, and then you have the films that sort of have big gaps and they come back to the character. Bit like how like the Matrix 4 happened after
Yeah.
ages. Is that some films have big gaps, and because the actor becomes more popular, they go and revisit those ones. That's why I felt like Scream was gonna be like they'll probably do one, and then it'll be like a revisit, but we'll leave it as that. But now they're proper making it into like a bloody
Yeah, because it's probably really fun to do as well.
Fast and
That's
Furious.
right.
Like they're gonna
Like,
become 10 films soon.
yeah, geez, yeah. Fast and Furious is ridiculous because they've gone from being just regular racers and criminals
Yeah,
to being like fucking MCU characters now. They're like they do all these over the top things that normal people would die from, like going to space in the last
hey,
movie. Come
hey,
on, really?
hey, Rock's in that film, man. Hobbs, that's Black Adam, right? He's only a superhero.
Redeem himself after Black Adam. Yeah, that
So
terrible film.
yeah, I know, but yeah, like just like how initially Fast and Furious sort of left it for a long time, and then they came back and brought the initial crew together, and then they did one or two more, and then it was like that sort of hype of being like nostalgia versus like a long gap, and then they went to the like a proper franchise, tuning it out once, basically money grabbing, and I feel like I don't want Scream to get to that level. Just like how
Yeah,
just like
sure.
how Saw
No,
went to
but
that
best
level.
way, the best way they could do it is to turn Sam's character bad. I think that would be such a good change because they've already leaded to it, and you've had like Jenny Ortega's character save her twice mentally from
Yeah,
going
yeah.
that. Like, there's a situation now that'll be over with. There's no one to save her. I want her to turn full evil because
Any
you'll
and
still have that. You will still have the sister will still be covering for her. I think that's what will make it worse. I don't think the sister will fully turn against her, even if she did kill.
she might turn. Well, I don't know, man. She might
She'll
end
be
up
trying
killing.
to win her. She'll be trying to like save her, basically, as opposed to you're fucked up. You've killed people. I'm gonna turn you in.
There's a lot of ways they can go, and like I said, like the fact that they killed all of the three new enemies in this film meant that they definitely have confidence in a new story with a new enemy that they can generate, because
Yeah, true.
they had to generate these three enemies, and to feel the fact that they killed them all off without no remorse, like there's no coming back from that. They can't even use them again in the future, so it'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see what they do. Bro, we're gonna have to leave it there, man. This is I don't
I
want to
don't know,
go
cool.
for too long. Did you have any final thoughts on the actual new film, or
Yeah,
do you
no,
want to?
for me it's banging. Everyone should go watch it. Like,
Yeah,
is redeemed the genre in a way.
I don't think it needed redeeming. It just makes it
Yeah, because
also.
well, five is good enough, but I mean, as in the genre itself needs like that injection. Like
Yeah.
when you every year on year when you get like horror movies and slashers, sometimes it's like, ugh, like there's
Oh, you
another
mean
crap
redeem?
one.
You
Yeah,
mean
like
redeem
now
the
you've got
genre? Okay, yeah,
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 like it adds that energy now, so everyone will go out and probably try and watch another horror.
yeah, yeah.
Like hopefully, well, Evil Dead is very different, but very dark. But you know what I mean. So I think yeah, it's well worth it for me. 5 and 6 are my favorites after one. For me, it will go 1, 5, 6
Okay,
as a
that's fair. That's fair. As long as you're saying the first one's the best,
yeah, by far, by far.
I won't argue with that. Some people that say Raw is better than the first, I'm like, just stop,
Yeah,
just stop talking, just stop.
excitement,
Don't be silly.
excitement. Yeah,
Alright, bro. Thanks a lot for coming on. We're gonna
no
end it
problem.
there. Definitely go out
Sure.
and watch it, guys. It's out in cinemas nationwide at the moment. Definitely go and check it out.